My guest on this episode of Champions of Marketing is the head of commercial account-based marketing for the Adobe Experience Cloud, Dave Rigotti. Dave, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thank you. So excited to be here and chat ABM with you.
Awesome. So, Dave, you started your career at Microsoft before
Mhm.
becoming the VP of marketing at Visible, and then you joined Marketo via the Visible acquisition, and then joined Adobe via the Marketo acquisition. What a ride that's been.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I think it's been really great. Yeah, I started my career at one of the largest tech companies, and then decided I wanted to go to a startup, and I was the first marketing employee at Visible. I was employee like 7 or 8. Kind of saw the growth there at Visible, and then now back at a big tech company. So it's been a ride, but kind of each part of that journey has been I've learned something and taken away from it. And I use things now that I was using when I was at 8 employees or a 100,000 person company. Like there's so many life skills that I've learned, which is, I've been really blessed for sure.
Yeah. So now you just need Microsoft to acquire Adobe and then finish off that circle.
Yeah, I'll be right back where I started.
Yeah. So, Dave, you're one of the more passionate marketers that I've ever met. You specialize in account-based marketing, which is still a new concept for many companies and many marketers out there. So let's start with the simplest question. What is account-based marketing?
Yeah. Account-based marketing has been a pretty big passion of mine for quite a while now. I was running marketing at Visible for 5 years. We were only doing account-based marketing at Visible. We found that it was just really critical to our kind of hyper growth and our success. So we kept doubling it down there. And then when I got into Marketo and Adobe, kind of looked at, hey, where does my skill set what is my skill set? What can I build and bring to Marketo and Adobe? And kind of realize like, hey, Dave can do account-based marketing really well. Why doesn't Dave run an ABM team? So that's kind of how I ended up finding my niche and um, doubling down on it as part of Marketo and Adobe. And kind of what ABM means to me is it's all about a joint kind of sales and marketing effort to a specific set of companies. You'll hear the analogy a lot of spear fishing versus net fishing. Your traditional demand generation or your typical marketing is really net fishing. You're kind of going wide and broad and building up awareness and generating leads at a wide variety of companies, and kind of like wherever you can get demand, you'll sort of take it. And then ABM is really much more focused. So you're always starting with a list of accounts you want to go after, and you're building specific marketing initiatives and campaigns and content for their specific needs. So instead of let's create a piece of content and then go see who we might be able to market to kind of within our ICP, you're saying, hey, this set of accounts, let's go after them. So it's a really kind of joint effort between sales and marketing, and a really focused one.
Cool. So what types of companies should be using ABM? Because there's probably some that it may not be the best fit.
Yeah. It's a great question, and I think one that every company should ask before they just jump in and start doing ABM is, is this actually right for me? Just because you've heard about it in this video or elsewhere, may not be appropriate. It may actually be a step back. And what I've come to realize is that deal size plays into the factors of if a company should be doing ABM or not. In fact, it's like the factor. If your deal sizes are small, let's say you're a B2B SaaS company and your average yearly deal size is $12,000, you're selling like a $1,000 a month product, probably not worthwhile to go do ABM. The time investment it takes to do ABM, the kind of generally higher cost that just more focused marketing that comes with more focused marketing, and just the smaller set of initiatives that you do, probably not going to pay off for a $12,000 deal. Now, when you start to get to deal sizes about like $36,000 a year, about $3,000 a month if you're a SaaS company, it starts to really kind of start to make sense to have almost a hybrid ABM and demand gen kind of strategy. I've seen a lot of companies when they have deal sizes over 100K is when they start to do almost exclusively ABM. And I have yet to come across a single company that only does ABM. Even here at Adobe for our enterprise marketing business, we go after very, very large companies, often companies that we kind of already have existing relationships with. We're still doing inbound marketing. We're still doing demand gen. We're still writing blog posts. We're still thinking about, paid search. So I've yet to come across a company that only does ABM. So it's always either you're doing demand generation or demand generation and some ABM.
Do you think that is how the future is going? Like you're going to have a company that will not just focus on ABM, but the full gambit of marketing strategy? Or do you see this going down a path of, if you're that company that's selling those massive deals, you should be 100% focused on ABM?
I don't know if the company should ever be 100% focused on ABM. I do think there is a little value in being some of your marketing being a little bit broader than just those you want to go after today. Now, you kind of hit on like an interesting point, which is almost like, how do we think about ABM and demand gen and B2B marketing? And right now they're separate things. Like I say demand generation, I say ABM. People generally know kind of what I'm talking about. I kind of just think that ABM is just like will be B2B marketing, or like we'll say demand generation and it like will just mean ABM, because like ABM is not that different from demand generation. The biggest factor is just that you're almost just like targeting companies instead of targeting people. It's almost just like a targeting change.
Yep.
So I sort of think like we'll see the convergence of the terms, and just everyone will be doing ABM at some level. If their deal sizes are over that like $2,000 to $3,000 per month. So that's kind of where I think it's headed. It is like pretty new for a lot of companies. So I think we'll just see more and more companies adopt it as part of their current tool set, but not only do it exclusively.
Right. Yeah, when you Google account-based marketing, you really only see articles dating back to 2016, 2017. Yeah. So it feels like it's about a 3 or 4 year old concept. So is it a concept / idea? Like, did that come first, or did a product get released where they said, hey, there's this new feature called account-based marketing? Like, what was first?
I think ABM has been around for like 100 years, and we just never called it ABM. You think about like traveling salesmen, or just there's just a lot of efforts that have always been done that you would call ABM today. Kind of my perspective on it is that it's always been there, and only recently have a bunch of kind of technologies come into the market in the last 5 years or so that let you do ABM kind of at scale and think about it the same way you can think about your digital marketing. Because it was generally like very offline focused, like field marketing is an example of ABM. So I think it's come into the narrative and the conversation just so much more in the last 5 years, because it is easier to adopt, it is easier to measure and track, it is easier to go kind of execute. But I think it's sort of always been there in the background.
Yeah. So if I'm a CMO, Dave, at a medium-sized company, and say my average deal size is above $50,000 right now, and you're my consultant, and I'm asking you, I need to start account-based marketing strategy. What are the tips or the first steps that you consult me on?
Yeah, if ABM's newer and you're looking to adopt it, and you want to kind of like have a test and learn strategy, the first step that I would say is you need to really align on what are the accounts you want to go after. That is the absolute most important part of ABM. You can never do ABM better than the accounts you select. Like that is your kind of max potential. And so take a lot of great care into selecting those accounts. If you want to use a software like Mintigo or some other predictive tool to like help you understand their accounts, that's an awesome kind of way to do it. It's not cheap, but it is a good way to kind of sort through your accounts with technology to find opportunities. But however you do it, make sure you're really aligned between sales and marketing and even CEO of like what are the accounts we want to go after. Once that's done, um, I always recommend companies that are just starting with ABM, go look at the channels that you're already executing in, and then see if you can make them account based. A really fantastic example is LinkedIn. And most B2B companies are already advertising on LinkedIn because it has awesome targeting capabilities for people, job titles, company size, etc. LinkedIn offers capabilities to go target companies. So you can already take something already take something that you know is successful, and now you can apply an ABM lens to it. And now you have a great comparison between, how is ABM performing versus of what we're doing in demand generation. So take really, really great care of your account selection, and then to go execute in some channels that you're probably already operating in and can just apply an account lens to.
One of the things that has come up in this conversation in my previous episode with Mike Madden was the alignment of sales and marketing. It sounds like ABM is the type of strategy where you do need buy-in from sales, where you do need that alignment. So how do you go about that in the real world, in your job, to align the sales team, the sales leadership, and even at the rep level on your strategy and get buy-in and get excitement from them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I usually say with demand generation, every company should have sales and marketing alignment, but it's still like a little bit optional when you're doing demand generation. But for ABM, it's required. Like you can't go do ABM if you're not aligned with sales. The good news is sales is already aligned with an account-based view. Working accounts, like if you're an opportunity, you're an account. So sales is already thinking about accounts. The sort of wild card ends up being BDR organizations, if they sit in sales or marketing, and are they going after leads, or if are they going after accounts? So usually the biggest change that has to happen and kind of aligning on an ABM strategy is just how to think about the BDR organization. Are they going to keep working people? Do we want them to work accounts? Is it a blend? There's no one answer, no right answer. It's going to be different across every company. So get that right. Really think about your BDR organization. The people that'll be calling these leads and or working these accounts. And then just really think about, what are those accounts we're going to go after? I think the best way to align with sales is go kind of pick those accounts together. Think about, it's account-based marketing, but it's not a marketing thing. Like it needs to be like an account-based everyone thing. Like I've heard that term ABE a lot. So really partner with sales in picking those accounts, thinking about, what are those campaigns we want to run. Make sure you're looking at things like win rates when you're picking your accounts, and you're going to go do something that's going to be kind of a net positive change for the organization.
Yeah, sounds like ABM could be a good technique to use for that marketing team that feels like they don't have alignment or a close relationship with the sales team, to foster that relationship and say, hey guys, here's a technique that a lot of companies in our space are using. We need your buy-in, and that could be a way to really work on that relationship. Because I talk to marketers every day in my job, and I hear a lot of that issue of we feel underappreciated by sales. We feel like there's no alignment with sales, but ultimately I think marketing, it's the engine of a sales team, because without good marketing, you don't have that lead generation. You don't have that awareness in the market. So what are your thoughts on using ABM as a way to foster that relationship with sales?
Yeah, I love that. I'm a big fan of giving sales levers for marketing, um, and to like to be able to control it. Especially if your alignment, you feel like your alignment isn't that strong. Give some of the keys to sales. Let them own some of it. And I think ABM is an awesome, like you can do that with ABM. Let sales pick the account. Say, hey, we're ready to run an ABM campaign. Sales, what do you think we should do? You want to give me your named accounts? Do you want to just give me your named accounts in particular industry? And run that across all the AEs. Do you want me to go run a campaign just to a specific region to help an AE kind of get back on track if their forecast is low? Like a lot of different options we can go execute. Sales, what do you think we should do? And I think when you say that, you're letting sales direct your strategy, and that's super healthy. Now, marketing you can go decide if you want to take that advice or if you want to go run something else. But when you're just getting started, kind of nobody quite knows what's going to be right or wrong. So I always think it's good to, go run what sales is sort of asking for. And if you want to run one that marketing wants to do, go do that too.
Yep. So we're obviously in an interesting time right now. We're recording this on May 5th. What can you tell me about how your strategy's changed in the last few months and where you've had to pivot your focus?
Yeah, it's been, it's been difficult, certainly from a marketing perspective, but also just, my own personal perspectives and working from home and having kids running around the house and, um, you know, hearts out there to everyone who's holding it together as best as we can. Cause it's not easy. This is not, normal times. Um, when you're dealing with a crisis and a pandemic, like that already is a burden and a stress. And then to have that affect so much your marketing, it just kind of piles up. We certainly see that with ABM. A lot of our efforts, all of our efforts are account based. We rely a lot on data sources to tell us, what companies people work at. And so when you have, for example, a bunch of people working from home, a lot of our ABM targeting doesn't work as well because it relies on IP addresses. Like if I'm working from the office and I connect to somebody's website, they know that, hey, I work at Adobe. With a lot of people work from home, that it definitely makes things kind of much more challenging. So we've had to adjust how we think about some of our targeting. And when we rely on kind of IP-based targeting and when we don't, we're still doing some direct mail, but instead of sending physical boxes to people's offices, we're sending it all via email and letting people kind of opt in over email. And then if they would like to give us their home address, so we can send them a box or a goodie to their home. We sent a ton of wellness boxes to a bunch of people, just things to help make work from home a little bit easier. Plant, some incense, a candle, just anything that makes life a little bit easier is an awesome thing right now. So we definitely have had to adjust some of our strategies, and the team's really buckled down and sort of embraced it. Of these aren't normal times. Let's try to be a little bit creative if we can. I think there's some things that we've learned the last couple of months that will stay with us forever. And we will never go back to some kind of normal state, but, it's been hard and kudos to everyone out there who's holding it together, because I feel it too.
Yeah, creativity is key right now in trying to maintain some level of success in any job that you're in, I think, especially marketing.
Yeah.
So we'll finish on this. Is there a company right now that you can call out to say they're doing a great job, they're getting creative, they're doing something completely different that you're inspired by?
No particular company comes to mind. It's more of a category of companies. Kudos to all those companies that have just totally rethought what field marketing looks like. I think we're doing an awesome job of it, but I know we're not unique, and I'm not saying that we're better than anyone else, because I've seen it across many companies. When you can't do in-person events, still have all this budget, you still have all these teams, like what do you do? And I've seen some really clever and kind of awesome examples of field marketing, from virtual wine tasting events to cocktail classes to, content sessions, all
Yeah.
continuing. So I think, that is an industry and a function that has like forever been about, been about in-person events. And here you are in like 1 month time, just totally changed on a dime to go reinvent what field marketing looks like. And that's an example of something that I think is going to stay with us forever. Like our field
Yep.
marketing team, I think forever now will be doing some kind of virtual events. And so, to me, that's really inspiring to see, change that was probably going to happen over the next like 5 to 10 years, like happen in a month in a, a positive way. And certainly, it came with like a lot of stress and a lot of ambiguity for people in field marketing. But I think what I've seen coming out of Adobe, but so many other companies is really clever, unique, and engaging and awesome.
Yeah, I got to agree with you that I think that this is something that we see even after the pandemic is over and things go back to normal. There will be field in-person events, but there's no reason why we can't host a virtual wine tasting or some kind of virtual event, especially in densely populated cities like LA, right, where it's pretty
Yeah.
tough for people to get to events, especially peak hour after work. So
Hmm.
I think this could be a way that we pivot and think about how do we deliver events to larger territories, larger regions, or in those densely populated cities where they find that there's a huge drop-off rate, generally due to just traffic and getting around. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely agree there.
yeah. Awesome, Dave. Well, thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot about ABM. I hope everyone listening or watching this has learned a lot about ABM too. Any final thoughts, or if someone wants to hit you up and ask you some more questions about this, where can they find you?
Yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can just search my name, Dave Rigotti. I'm happy to respond to any messages if you have any questions and kind of final thoughts is, hang in there, people. We'll get through this together.
Great. Thank you so much, Dave. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.